I just put it right there.
Is it getting like my belly?
No, that's perfect. Okay. And actually, I think I'm going to have you stand, just turn this way. Oh, that's perfect. Okay. So, as we were saying, so you're very athletic and you have a good stance. So, feet should be shoulder width apart. So you're a little wide stance. There you go. We want to think about having that tail tucking under, which causes the sternum to feel like it's lifting. I can see that where your tension is in your shoulders and in your neck. So a good exercise for you in all the things that you're doing already physically is to really try and work on those shoulder rolls. I would do several forward and backward. So let's reverse that. Good, good. And then I like to do one at a time so you get the knees into it and get the hip into it. Because what's different in the physicality of singing, you can reverse it, is that, like in is it tennis that you play? Racquetball. So in racquetball, you get into that, you're ready, okay? And that's the danger zone for us, especially if we're singing lead, because we don't want to get into that lock and load position, right? So we have to think about having the looseness in our hips, so you can do some of these. This is good to do every day, and then you can reverse it and do a couple of them this way. And definitely do a stretch series before you come to chorus, just like you would in any other athletic sport, right? So we've got all this happening for us. Our feet are shoulder width apart, our knees are soft, our tail is tucked under, our sternum is lifting. For you, the challenge now is to bring those shoulders back, around, and down, okay, so that they're down. And now, when we take our breath, I'm going to give you two new things to think about. We're going to take our breath in through the nose, and as we shush that air out, I would like for you to think about a little tiny baby Kegel. Kegel exercise to pull the air in as you're contracting the lower ribs in the front, okay? So in through the nose and shushing out. Can you make more of a shush sound? And as you do that, I want you to think lifting here and contracting here, okay? So it's kind of got this feeling of coming together, but using those very deep inner core muscles, okay? So let's take our breath and as you're getting close to the air, I want you to lift harder, or stronger, I should say, and it's out. And then when you finish that expulsion, to take the breath, you just simply need to open your mouth and relax open where you were. You don't have to change all of this stuff up here, because we don't want heaving or a shallow breath. If we go, we don't want that, right? So let's try it again. So in through the nose, and really lifting from that Kegel and contracting those lower ribs. Now, that last end of phrase, now really pull. Good. And then as soon as that shush is ended, just open your mouth and let the air back in. So let's try it one more time. And open. Because you need to get that air to come back in automatically. So when you hear somebody say, breathe, sing, that's what we mean. We want that air to come in automatically so we're ready for the breath. So let's talk about that for a second, and we'll get you to open up the ballad. When you take your breath, even though we're doing an exercise, we need to be able to allow for the embouchure to open up into the vowel space for our next word. That's why we're always focused on lifting this. Okay, so how. Okay, so I'd like to try and open the ballad and just see what's happening with you in terms of the face and so forth. Are you ready? So you're going to take a nice breath. And
How? You want me to sing it?
yes, I'm going to sing.
How can I tell you what is in my
Keep
heart? How can I measure each and every part?
Good.
How can I tell you how much I love you?
Okay, let's stop there. Great. Beautiful voice. So now what we want to work on is adding some of that little bit of physical control. So you tend to kind of lead with your chin. Are you aware of that? Oh yeah, heard that before. Okay, so when we get ready to sing, one of the things that you can try, and this is something you can practice in front of the mirror, is we'll just open up that little bit of big phrase again, I'd like you to put your index finger on your chin. And just be aware that when it starts to float up, that you just remind it, you don't have to push hard, it's just a little governor, okay? And
how can I tell you what is in my heart?
okay, let's stop there. So that was a little bit better, but you felt yourself moving against it, didn't you? Okay, take that down. So that's something you can work on. The other thing that I think is happening is that you're really into the trying to emote with all of this. And so I'd like you to have your focus shift so that you're thinking about delivering the emotion and delivering that message through this part of your face, okay? When we sing, the jaw really should not be involved. It's almost like you pull the jaw, take it off, throw it aside. We want everything to happen up here. So when we're singing, we want to think about that sensation of like there's an egg in the back of our mouth. Have you heard that before? Having that like peanut butter spot. And so in barbershop, when we have the ring spot, is usually where we make an NG. So if you do ningy, 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 now you.
Ningy, 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 ningy.
Okay, now that's pretty good, but it's very here. So can we think sending the sound like straight up to behind our eyes, up and at the top of our head, but keeping that presence of having the pads lifted. Ready?
Ningy, 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 ningy.
Yes, one more time.
Ningy, 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 ningy.
Not so fast.
Ningy, 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 ningy.
That's better. Okay, now did you feel what was happening there? So the sound was getting higher, that was better, it was open, it was resonated, and this was lifted, and you weren't putting all of that extra smushy smush in there, okay? Now with that in mind, can we open up the ballad again and try it with that same idea, okay? And
how can I tell you what is in my heart?
better. Keep going.
How can I measure each and every part?
Okay, that's messed up there. That was better. So, yeah. So you're not going to get more sound from that. You need this one. So remember, that's where that Kegel muscle really comes into play. Heart. Because we want to pull the sound and the air up from here. And that's where we need to be sure we've kept it soft in our knees. Engage those hydraulics and that pull and that contraction of those lower ribs. Okay? A good way to find that true inner core is if you'll lay on your back, and you try this at home, lay on your back, take a nice deep breath through your nose, and as you shush the air slowly, really focus on finding that little baby Kegel and slowly contracting those lower ribs. Okay? That's how you can really start to get in touch with true core. Does that make sense? Okay. And you have a wonderful face and a wonderful countenance. It's just that we kind of get out of control. And the last thing I would tell you is that as you're thinking about that lift, getting this up, sending that sound here, you want to make sure that you don't get too wide here. So you have a natural smile, very pretty smile, and I know Elaine says, let's smile. What she's really asking for is more, let me see that brightness in your eyes. Let me see those pads listed. She doesn't want a lot of east-west. She wants north-south singing. So you really have to think about, how can I tell you what is in my heart? And you can use your eyes and your cheeks to deliver that smile. Does that make sense? Let's do it one last time. Just trying to apply all those pieces. We've got the Kegel for the end of the phrase, right? We're not going to sway. We're going to try and keep our chin in a perpendicular motion and have that great expression. And
how can I tell you what is in my heart? How can I measure each and every part?
Good for you. That's awesome. Okay. Did you learn a couple of new things?
Yeah.
Something
It's
to
just
think
like
about.
a swing. You have to remember all the
Yes.
different.
Yes.
That
A lot of
actually comes
yes.
together.
We're working for moving from conscious competence, where we're thinking about what we're doing and knowing the technique, to unconscious competence, where it happens naturally. And that only happens through consistent practice. You got it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Wave to the camera.